Yo, what it do, Hustle Nation? It is 7 a.m., so y'all know what time it is. It is time for the Cortez Hustle Show, and we're talking about Black people in the stock market, man. Why do you think Black people are afraid of the stock market? My guest, Dr. Kelli DeCloux, is going to be talking about stock options trading and how she was able to retire herself from her job by not fearing the stock market. So do me a favor, man. Go ahead and comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand. If you like a free business shout out, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go all the way in on how you can carve out a living and literally print money from the market every day if you develop this one skill. So smash that share button. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you are building something amazing, tell us a little bit about it. Just don't post any links. I'm going to go ahead and get the show rocking and rolling. So let's get to it. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor from where am I from this morning? I am from digitalempiresystem.com. If you, my friend, are trying to get your piece of this internet pie, the billions of dollars that's created online every single day, you're going to need a digital marketing platform to do that. And the one I choose is called Builderall. If you go to digitalempiresystem.com, you can test it out for 30 days for $1. This thing does everything I need it to do. It hosts my membership sites. It has all of my sales funnels. It actually has my payment processing center. So when people buy my books, my courses, my products and services, it does it all. An unlimited email autoresponder. If you need a good system, you need to check out digitalempiresystem.com. Test it out for $1. See for yourself, man. 30 different products for digital marketers all in one place. And they all talk to each other, which is different from other platforms where you got to patch things together. So check that out. Do me a favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and share the show, ladies and gentlemen. So I've got a lot of Dr. Kelli fans in the building already. Claudia says, Dr. Kelli is the best. Ashley from South Carolina. Blessed morning, all. Cookie Price, created by Cookie is the name of her brand. Hello from Canada. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dr. Kelli is great and compassionate teacher. I love it. I love it. I love it. So lots of love for Dr. Kelli. Before we get to bringing out Dr. Kelli, let me give you a couple of quick announcements. If you don't know, the Cortez Hustle Show blog is officially up and running. So do me a favor, when the show is over, go over to thecortezhustleshow.com And just for going to check out the blog and see what we got going on over there, I'm giving away 2 free gifts. You won't believe how amazing these gifts are. So write that down, thecortezsocialshow.com. There you'll find the replay of today's show, as well as past episodes and tons of resources from our different sponsors and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great opportunity for you to learn and continue to grow. Also, let's see, I had another announcement that is escaping me right now. So nevertheless, let's just go ahead and get to the good stuff. Dr. Kelli is a PhD from USC and former educator and teacher who retired herself when she learned the power of stock option trading, and it now has her on a mission to introduce the stock market to minority, Black and brown communities first and foremost, but anybody who's willing to learn, because this is a game changer for anybody who's willing to put in the effort to learn. And as you see, some of her fans are live with us this morning, says she is a compassionate and passionate teacher. So without further ado, let me introduce to some and present to others, Miss Dr. Kelli. Good morning, Dr. Kelli. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing amazing. How you doing, brother?
I am doing well. I am doing well. Let me see if I can pull in our lower thirds so that people know that I am here with the great Dr. Kelli DeCloux this morning. There we go. There we go. So, Dr. Kelli, before we get into introductions and tell everybody who you are and all of that stuff, I like to kick the show off with what I call the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Now, if you have a favorite quote, you can share yours, or you can just give me your thoughts on this one. But today's quote of the day here on the Cortez Hustle Show is, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work till you die. And that is the great legendary investor, Mr. Warren Buffett. So do you have a quote of the day, or do you want to share a thought on that one?
You know what? I would like to share a thought on that, but I'd also like to offer one that I share all the time. What you do today affects 7 generations into your future.
Whoa, wait a minute. We got to run that back, Dr. Kelli. We got to run that back. I got to make sure they get it.
Okay. What you do today affects 7 generations into your future.
Wow. Wow. That is powerful. So learning something like stock options trading,
man,
it changed the game, not only for you and your kids and their kids, but we're talking about 5 more generations too.
Exactly.
That is amazing. So yeah. I am so with that Warren Buffett quote, because when you think about it, there's going to come a day, Dr. Kelli, where you either don't want to work,
right?
You're not physically able to work,
right?
Or you're not wanted by an employer to work, because we see the discrimination and the prejudice that happens with our seniors when they get a certain number of years of experience. They get a certain number of years of prestige. Now it's like, we don't want to pay you what you're worth, so we're going to kind of put you out to pasture, right? So you got to find ways to get paid not working. There's all kinds of income, but my favorite kind of income is the non-wage income, Dr. Kelli.
Passive income. It's a beautiful thing.
Awesome. Well, that was the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by Stock Options Trading Academy.com, which is Dr. Kelli's school, which we'll get into a little bit later. But before we do all of that, Dr. Kelli, tell everybody who the heck is Dr. Kelli.
Oh man, thank you, brother. This is awesome. It's good to see you, and glad to be talking to you and clients and new clients that's coming up. I'm excited. So my name is Dr. Kelli DeCloux. I'm from California, born and raised California, but my people are from Mobile, Alabama, Memphis, Tennessee. So I call myself a country girl that's living in California because I got my roots down there, right? So So I went to school out there. That's where I'm from. I went to UCLA and USC. So people say, "Who do you?"
How you pull that off?
when you're that good, you can go wherever you want. Oh man, so yeah, and it's funny too because there's times where I've walked around with a UCLA tank top and then a Trojans jersey on top of it. I'm like, hey, I can get down like that, you know.
Gotcha.
And Darren didn't say anything.
Right. Like, hey, listen, I put in work in both places. Period. I'm celebrated in both places, so why can't I celebrate both places, right?
Absolutely.
Love it. So background as a PhD, and that means you are well learned in a lot of different areas. Let's kind of go down that path a little bit, because did you feel it necessary to go the PhD route to get to where you want to go? Because, you know, at this point, there was a time where a college degree was a major differentiator, right? Then a lot of people got the degrees, so you had to have a master's to set yourself apart. Right. Was it a thing that you just wanted, that was something, a dream of yours to be doctor? Or was it like, man, everybody's got a master, so I got to step it up and go ahead and get the PhD?
That's a great question. And it is a situation where I wanted it. I didn't want it because of a job thing. I didn't want it because, you know, I would elevate me to another level in terms of a position. I wanted a PhD because I wanted to be in that percent of what 1% of the population or less has a PhD. That sounds like that's for me.
Gotcha. Really quickly, guys, we do also something called the question of the day every day. Dr. Kelly and I forgot to give them the question of the day earlier, but the question for today is, what is the first stock you bought and when? And if you answer the question of the day, we enter you to a drawing to win a free vacation. And we do our live drawing every Wednesday. So answer the question of the day. But the only way we know you're answering is you have to put QOTD, then give your answer. That's how my team knows you're responding to the question of the day. So the question of the day is, what is the first stock you bought and when? And even if you haven't bought any yet, just say, hey, none yet, you know, because sometimes we still got to get educated and get comfortable with that whole process. But put QOTD and then give your answer. So you have a history as a educator, teacher in the school system, taught everything from kindergarten to college. Yes. What was that process like, being a Black woman in our educational system, you know, responsible for, you know, the next generation, right? I think there was a Abraham Lincoln quote that says, you know, today's children will shape politics in the next generation. So we got to be careful what we teach them. So how was that whole experience for you?
I enjoyed it. And it's funny because I fell into the teaching profession because I was going through the parent, oh, you need to be a doctor, not PhD doctor, but medical doctor. So when I finished at UCLA, I was taking time off to study for the MCAT, the medical college admissions test, right? And in the meantime, you know, the student loan people, they want their money now, right? So, okay, I need to do something while I'm studying for this test. So I was like, oh, UCLA told us that if we had a science degree, and my degree is in psychobiology, that you can teach on an emergency credential in the Los Angeles Unified School District. I was like, oh, okay, cool, let me go ahead and do that, right? And so what happened was I got there, started teaching in South Central, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, right? And I remember having a call, Mom, I'm not going to be a medical doctor. I want to be a brain surgeon. I'm not going to be a brain surgeon. Is that cool? And you know, like, baby, do whatever make you happy. Oh, let's go, right? Because I realized that I would do it for free. That's how much I love teaching in South Central. I would do it for free. And so that's when I knew, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I started there, taught there for a while, and then I taught at the university, college level, and then I started teaching in. Actually, I wasn't teaching at that time. I went and became a probation officer for kids who were locked up.
Okay.
And seeing what they did not have, and seeing I want to be careful because I don't want to, but the quality or lack thereof of instruction that the kids were receiving in lockup, that made me want to go back into teaching, because I was like, I want to be able to help kids before they get locked up. I want to be able to, you know, so I went back into teaching, and I started teaching kids who were on probation. right? So that I can hopefully impact them enough so they wouldn't go along the path where they get to lock up. Okay.
Yeah, that's powerful. And that's important. Talk really quick before we get into the stock options trade. I know that's why people are really here, but I think this is important for just general to understand. People sometimes underestimate the impact that a teacher can have on our children and coaches and the people that you put your kids in front of, especially in a school system where they're spending 8, sometimes 9, 10 hours a day with these people. So talk about you had the passion to shape, and thank God for you. Some people see our school system, especially in our urban communities, as a somewhat of a welfare check. Hey, I just got my degree. I got to teach somewhere for 2 years before I get into the school system that I really want to be in. Let me just go down here and sit in this urban community for these 2 years. Hopefully I don't get hurt or stabbed or cut, and then I'm gonna get out of here and go to the next deal. But so I guess it's a 2-part question: the impact that teachers can have on children, but also in a positive light, but also the negative impact of those teachers who really don't give a doggone, because that comes in a lot of different areas. It's the young teachers trying to get tenure so they can move into a better district. It's the older teachers like, hey, I'm 5 years from retirement, so I just need to hold on a little bit. Talk about those 2 different dynamics, because I know being in it, you see it. Or you saw it before you retired.
Yes. And if I may, let me share a story with you really quickly. So when I went back into teaching, I went to Riverside County and Office of Education. And I found a probation school. And so I went and I applied. And check this out. The guy who was interviewing me was a principal at one of the schools for Riverside County Office of Education. He looked at my resume and said, wow, you have, 2 masters and a PhD. And listen to what he said to me. He said, why do you want to teach these kids?
Wow.
And I had to bite my tongue because I wanted to just read him. But I like, if I read him, I ain't gonna get the job to help the babies. Right. So I had to take that one. But man, I wanted to go all the way off on him, because he was like, you're too good of a teacher to teach these Black and brown kids. So exactly what you're saying is an issue. And so that's why I had the passion to go in, because I said they need somebody with who
right. They need a Dr. Kelly. That's exactly who they need.
You know what I'm saying? Who wants to be here and has the credentials to do it, as well as the drive, So what you asked is a amazing question. I work beside people who would say some awful things to these babies. And I would just be looking at them like, are you trying to perpetuate this? Are you trying to, aren't you trying to, and I realized they weren't, which is what you brought up, people who are just trying to, hold position, they got a second job because they retired from whatever. And then they're like, oh, I'm gonna get a second pension if I work for the county for a couple years. I get and I saw it. And it was just, it honestly just burned me. It really did. Yeah. But it made me go harder in the paint for the babies.
Gotcha. I love that. So with that much passion and fire for the babies and what you were doing, let's talk about you being bitten by this bug, right? Were you, before you really got going with stock options, were you kind of in that same category? Hey, the stock market is the stock market. That ain't something for us. I ain't checking for that. I'm busy with this thing over here, right? Let's talk about how you got introduced to the stock options. And matter of fact, wait a minute. Let's hold that question, because it is 7:19. It's too close to 7:20, in which time we do 1 minute motivation. So on the other side of 1 minute motivation, we'll talk about how you got the bug and which led to your retirement and all that kind of stuff. So right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, we do something called 1 minute motivation. I am huge on personal growth and self-development. And one thing that I try to get people to understand, Dr. Kelly, is everything that you consume is personal growth and self-development. It's not just when I pick up something like Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habits and I do something positive. No, when I consume Housewives of Atlanta, that's personal growth and self-development too. it just might be growing me in the wrong direction, right? So,
Facts.
so be careful with what you consume, but we do like to, people start their day with the Cortez Hustle Show. So I try to give them something to start their day with. So I play 1 minute or 90 seconds of a motivational clip. You give me one takeaway, I'll give a couple takeaways, and the audience will also comment their takeaway, what they hear from it. So right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, let's go with 1 minute motivation, the Dr. Kelli version.
You are strong because you used to be weak. You found a way to get back up again and again in situations that seemed bleak. You kept moving forward when others started to retreat. Your will to win is impeccable, and that's what makes you so hard to defeat. Your mindset is set to unbreakable. In the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, you remain unshakable. They thought they could break you, but they were sadly mistaken. You took your misery and turned it into history and accomplished feats that were not only earth-shaking, they were also record-breaking. Bruce Lee said, don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. I guess you said your prayers because you stand tall in situations where most would run. The world gets so caught up in measurables like height, weight, speed, IQ tests. But the most important measurable of all is the one they can never test. And that's the heart of a champion and the will to win. The passion and desire to fight, and fight to the very end. Just when they expect you to break like a levee, that's when you're at your best. Locked, loaded, and ready. And you tell life, bring it on. Please test me, because they underestimated you and labeled you a loser. But at this very moment, you decided to be a chooser.
Ooh-wee. You decided to be a chooser. Are you being a chooser out there? So give me one takeaway that you heard, Dr. Kelli.
You know what? I like the part about being unbreakable and being self-undefeatable, meaning you are competing just against yourself. Mm-hmm. And so whatever comes at you, you want to be, this is what I see, this is what I heard, right? You want to be the next best version of yourself, right? So whatever's coming at you, you want to defeat that. And then the next thing that comes at you, you want to defeat that. So you're always fighting you to be the next best version of you. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, man, I love it. And that's why I like doing this, because we all just heard the same clip, but none of us heard the same clip, right? His perspective is everything. He said, you are strong because you were weak. See, it's in our understanding of being weak. That's what drives me to get educated. That's what drives me to change, because I'm like, hey, I cannot remain this way. So appreciate the weak. I love the Bruce Lee quote, man, or I like the Jim Rohn version of it. Don't wish life was easy. Pray that you were better. So I mean, that is huge. It is huge, right? And then be a chooser, man. I think sometimes, Dr. Kelli, we forget that we could choose how we feel. Right? We forget that we could choose how we react to different things. Now, one thing that I know for certain, Dr. Kelli, is that life is at some point going to knock me on my butt. But the other thing that I know for certain is I will always have a choice as to whether or not I'm going to get up. And there is power in choice. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. The Dr. Kelli version brought to you by StockOptionsTradingAcademy.com. Go check out Dr. Kelli's Academy if you want to get into the stock option trading game. She is the best of the best because her students are right here attesting that she is an amazing and passionate teacher when it comes to the stock options trading. So before we got into 1 minute motivation, Dr. Kelli, we were going down the path to find out exactly when you got bit by this stock market bug. Just like I got bit by the entrepreneurial bug at a young age, and I knew that entrepreneurship is going to be part of my life. At some point, you got turned on to the market, and in particular, stock options trading. What was that moment for you?
So it was actually, if I can go back in time, I was at UCLA, I think I was. So a long time ago. And I went to the LA Convention Center because they had this event, right? And I had read this book by this guy, and he talked about stock options, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So he was going to be presenting, so I went there, and so I get there and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, all right, I can do this. I read the book, listened to what they were saying, and they were like, okay, if you want to take the class, that's $20,000. I was like, nope, I don't have that. I'm a student. Right. So I read the book several times, and I read just enough to lose money. Because the reality is you have to find someone to teach you. You do.
Yeah.
You know, it's very well, of course, back then there wasn't no YouTube, right? They're okay to kind of, you know, teach you, at least understand what it is, right? And whatever, you know, but now I think it's important to have someone teach you. So I learned what it was back then, but I didn't know how. I didn't know strategies. I didn't know, you know, what to do, right? I went in there and said, oh, well, let me just buy this right here because it's cheap and I can afford it, right? But not understanding the mechanics behind what I was buying and how to make money off of something like that just because it was cheap. Okay. Clients who are listening, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about.